Hello everyone, welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. We are going to make apple pie filling today. You've asked, and so now I will deliver an apple pie filling recipe for you to can today. Now I've already purchased 2 bushels of apples. We've made applesauce. We've made apple juice. And now we're going to make apple pie filling. Those other videos are out there if you're interested in what to do with your apple scraps and how to make applesauce. I have a video out there on how to make applesauce and apple butter, but I'm not making butter this year because I still have well over a year's supply. Today, we're going to do apple pie filling because you specifically asked for this video and I don't have any. Apple pie filling can be used for apple pies, or what if you just want to take the filling and put a scoop of vanilla ice cream on it or make a cobbler or something like that out of it? It has lots and lots of uses. And because of that, we are going to can them up in pint-sized jars. Now, when I make an apple pie, I'm talking about a 9-inch apple pie at least. And it's going to probably take 2 jars, but I would prefer to put it in smaller quantities so I can use the jar for other things. So the recipe I'm going to use is from my Ball Book of Canning, as always. So let's talk about the ingredients first. We'll get the measurements later, but all of the ingredients that you need. 1. You need 12 pounds of apples that have been peeled, cored, and sliced, I believe. Yes, and sliced. 12, I said pounds, y'all, 12 cups. 12 cups of apples. Now, I'm going to have more than 12 cups of apples, but I won't know until I finish getting it all done. So, apples, sugar, and when I say sugar, it can be granulated sugar or maybe half granulated, half light brown sugar. You got some options. And it is safe to can brown sugar. I did my research. It is safe to do so. You're going to need Clear Jel, which is this stuff right here. I just got mine off of Amazon. It is safe for cooking, basically. It's a thickener that is safe for canning. All thickeners are not necessarily safe for canning. For example, you don't want to can with flour. That's not an option. So make sure you're using a thickener that's safe for canning, and Clear Jel is. We're going to have however you like to season your apple pie. Cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, whatever you normally put in your apple pie, that's the seasoning you're going to use. I am just using cinnamon, no nutmeg. I don't like it. Water. You're going to need unsweetened apple juice. Now, I just made apple juice, right, from my scraps, but I'm going to save that. I already have it shelf stable, and I'm going to use some unsweetened apple juice that we had gotten from the store a while back. And you need lemon juice. Those are your ingredients. That's everything you need. Basically, everything you will put in your apple pie, you're going to put in this, except no flour. We're going to use this Clear Jel instead. That's it. The first step that we need to go through, though, y'all, we got to finish cutting and coring and doing everything we need to do with these apples. I've already got a head start. So there are my apples over there. I've already started, and this is all I have left. I'm capturing all my cores right there. So let's finish getting these apples sliced, peeled, and cored. Now, while I'm finishing off these apples, I do have a pot of water on because I need to flash boil my apples for 1 minute. So I have that water heating up on the stove as we speak. So I'm going to finish coring, and then we are going to dip our apples into hot boiling water, leave them in there for 1 minute, and then we're going to pull them out. That is a step you really should not skip. Apples have a lot of air pockets in them, I guess is what you would say. Y'all, that's probably wrong. Don't hold me to that. But if you want your mixture to completely get into the apple the way it's supposed to, and you want it to can properly, the recipe says that I need to flash boil those apples for 1 minute. And that's what we're going to do. I'm using my apple core like I always do. I am trying to remove more of the skins than I did when I'm making applesauce. So we've been putting them to the side and we've been eating them. I cut the apple in half and I'm cutting it in half again. And then I'm putting them into my roaster. Now my roaster is not on today. When I was making applesauce, the roaster was on. I had just a teeny little bit of water in the bottom. Today, the roaster is about half full of water. And I have my anti-browning powder in here that keep the apples from browning. And so every so often I come over here, I make sure I mix the apples up in the water. Now lemon juice does the same thing, but I didn't want to add any additional lemon juice because I'm going to need lemon juice when I make my recipe. So I didn't want to put too much lemon juice on them right now. And so it's just cold water, apples, and my anti-browning stuff. Give it a good toss, mix it up, and these apples still look like they were freshly cut. All of my skins and cores and everything, we're going to put them to the side because we're going to make some more apple juice. And there's already, like I said, a video out there explaining how to do that. Some of my apples has gone bad, right? There's a really bad spot on this one right here. We're going to cut all of that off. We're going to put it to the side. We will not use that to make our apple juice. The really bad pieces we won't. Some of my apples were so bad that I had to, there's nothing wrong with these. It's just got some of the core in it. So I can use the cores to make my apple juice. But some of the apples were so bad that I had to cut so much off of them that I just cut the real bad off. And I went ahead and put those apples in with where I'm going to make my apple juice. So I'm going to get something out of those really bad apples, but it was too much to mess up my wonderful apple pie filling. We'll use this for the real bad ones that we're not planning on using. Don't want to accidentally get it mixed in. And now we will do these last handful of apples and we will keep moving. My apron keeps catching the cabinet. I get ready to walk away and the cabinet says, oh no, you're not going anywhere. Cut off the bad spots or the brown spots. They're not really that bad. All right, I will finish coring the last, I got what, half a dozen apples over here. I will finish coring them and I will bring you back. All right, I'm finished with the apples. I have just under 18 quarts, y'all. This is gonna be a lot of apples. So it's time for us to go over and blanch them. My water is already boiling. It said work in 6-cup batches. This is 4 cups. So we're gonna work in 4-cup batches is what we're gonna work in. I don't want the liquid. I just want the apples. And I'm gonna have 2 batches ready to go. That's one. And this one here will be the second one. Now, all of this liquid over here that we're gonna boil the apples for 1 minute in, I'm gonna use that same liquid to make my apple juice because I can at least get the juice out of these apples as well. I don't have the best lighting over here, so I apologize now, but we are going to put in our 4 cups of apples, and it says only leave them in here for 1 minute. Oh my goodness, I can see all these little bubbles coming off the apples. You see all those little bubbles forming? I remember I told you there's a lot of air in your apples. So that's why you do this for 1 minute to get all those little bubbles out. 1 minute, that's all it says. Even though my apples are not boiling anymore, but 1 minute. And then we will get them out. Just a couple more seconds. Now that it's time to get the apples out, I'm just going to scoop them out, drain the water off of them. I'll just put them back in here for now, but I have a 12-cup dish over there I'm going to put them in, just so I can keep this process moving. So we will dump these out. I'll let my water get back up to a boil, and we will put these over here, and we'll grab another batch. And I will keep doing this process until I've done all of the apples. All right, I'm taking my last batch out, y'all. And I ended up with a lot of apples, y'all. I ended up with my 12 cup full to the top, which is more than 12 cups. My 8 cup full to the top, which is more than 8 cups. And now this little 4 cup is the last one that I'm putting apples in. Now my plan is to transfer all of these apples back to the roaster. So I've already emptied the roaster, I've rinsed it out so that I can transfer the apples back there. Because once I make this wonderful, wonderful filling for the apple pie, I'm going to use the roaster oven to kind of fold it all in together. So I have one batch where it's all mixed in well together. So now I actually need this pot here to make that batch. But you remember me saying, I don't want to get rid of this apple water, right? That smells like apples. I am going to transfer this water into another pot so I can use it as I'm making my apple juice. And then we will start with a clean pot. So let me go do that next. And I'm going to put all of my apples back into the roaster. The roaster will also help keep the apples warm. We'll put the lid back on the roaster. The roaster is not on, but it should help keep the apples warm while we make the filling. So for our apple pie filling, I've already told you all of the ingredients. Now we got to think about the ratios of those ingredients. Now this recipe was for 12 cups of apples, and I have 8 and 4 is 12. I'm at 2 and a little bit as far as the number of batches. So I'm doubling it for sure, but it's a little more than double because that was 12, probably another 4 cups on that. That's 16, 8, 9, 10 is 26 and 4. I got about 30 cups of apples versus 12. Yeah, 30 versus 12. So 2.5 batches is what I'm going to call it. 2.5 batches. So I'm going to increase my ratios by 2.5 batches. So the first thing it calls for, it says combine the sugar, the clear gel, and all of the water, the juice, and all that kind of stuff into a saucepan. So we're going to do that first. So for the sugar, remember, 2.5 is what I'm doing. So if I was only making one batch, I would use 2 3/4 cup. Since I'm doing 2.5 batches, I'm going to have to cut it. And for my sugar, I'm going to use some brown sugar in place of granular sugar. So let's do one whole batch with granular sugar. So 2 3/4 cup. Sugar to taste. One thing to remember, sugar to taste. Now let's do the second batch. And I make my own brown sugar. Y'all, it's just granular sugar and molasses. That's all it is. But I said 2.5 batches, y'all. So I got to go back over here and get some more regular sugar. So we're going to halfen that. Sugar's in, y'all. The next thing it says to add is the clear gel. This clear gel is light and fluffy, y'all. It's light and fluffy. For the clear gel, I'm supposed to use 3/4 of a cup. This is a 3/4 cup scoop. It won't fit in there. There's 1. Remember how many batches? 2. And about half. That clear gel, y'all, powder is fluffy. I'm getting powder everywhere. All right, what's next? What we're going to put in next. After the clear gel, they said cinnamon and nutmeg. Well, we're not doing nutmeg, but I got the cinnamon right here. The cinnamon, I am supposed to use 1.5 teaspoons. There we go. That's like 4 teaspoons. It'll be all right, y'all. Not putting any nutmeg in, so we don't have to worry about that. Now it's calling for cold water. How much cold water do I need? 1 1/4 cup. Okay, let's go get it. So 1 1/4 twice is 2.5. So I got my 2.5. And y'all, I'm just going to start mixing this up a little bit so it don't get lumpy. 2.5. And I need to go back and still get another half batch. But I want to stir a little bit first. There's the rest of the water. I don't have the stove on yet. I prefer to get it all on first before I start heating. It doesn't say I have to. It just says mix these ingredients together and bring it to a boil. So I'm going to mix the ingredients first. And now the apple juice is the next thing I need to add, which is 2.5. So it's going to be 4, 5, 6 1/4 cups of apple juice. Now, I might not have that. We'll see. I might get lucky. So there's 4. That's 5. So I'm short. But guess what, y'all? I made apple juice and I got it canned up. So let me go get that. In just a second, I will go grab that up. Y'all, it smells like apple pie. Should I put the nutmeg in? Y'all, I don't like nutmeg, but everybody else does. How about we just put just a teeny little bit? So I went ahead and put a little bit of that nutmeg in, even though I don't like it. So I sprinkled just a little bit in. And now I'm going to go get the rest of the apple juice. Let me show you my mixture. This is what we're working with so far. That light's kind of bright. Let's see if I can help it. There we go. It's got a nice brown chocolate color to it. That's from the cinnamon, I'm sure, and the apple juice. But I am short. I need to add a little more apple juice to this. And so I'm going to go grab that while we got the stove on. The next thing that we really need to be doing is bringing this to a boil. Once we've brought it to a boil, we will add the lemon juice. And then from the lemon juice, we're going to bring it back to a boil. And then we just mix it all together, y'all, and we're ready to go. And we are going to process, since I'm over here, we are going to water bath can for 25 minutes. So I got both of my canners ready to go. I already got the jars in there. I'm going to turn them on so we can start heating those jars. All right, we are bringing this to a boil, and I will bring it back as soon as I get that bowl. All right, y'all, we are getting close. This is thickening up. You see that right there? I need to give it a good stir because I walked away while I was trying to get my camera set back up, but it is getting super, super thick. I don't want it too thick, so hopefully I'm not messing up. But the next step, now that this is nice and thick, is I got to get it to boil. I cannot put the lemon juice in until it's boiling. So for lemon juice, I'm supposed to put in a half cup for one batch, a half cup. And I already have my lemon juice poured to the side, getting ready to go. This is super, super thick. There we go. Here comes some bubbles. That's a good sign. It's starting to bubble there. You see it? You see it? All right. Now that we got the bubbles coming in, you don't want to stop stirring, y'all, because this is thick. It will stick. So I'm supposed to add in my lemon juice. And so let's get the lemon juice added in. And then we got to bring it back to a boil. And I think we boil for 1 minute. Yes, for 1 minute. Once I get this lemon juice mixed in, we need to let it boil for 1 minute. And then I am supposed to fold in the apples into this mixture. I'm not going to do that, y'all. I'm not. And the reason I'm not going to do that is I got too many apples. They're not going to fit in this pot. So we will fold them in back in my 18-quart roaster pan. And that's where the apples are right now, staying nice and warm, waiting to be folded in. Oh, my arm tired, y'all. But let's get you back here where you can see it. Hopefully I didn't mess up too bad and you can see what I'm doing. But I got the lemon juice in. This stuff is thick, y'all. This is thick. And I'm supposed to strain off or drain off the apples and fold them into this mixture. And y'all, I'm not going to do that. I've already strained the apples. All they're going to get strained. And we're going to go take this over to the apples. We just got to boil for 1 minute. And here comes the boil right there. So boil for 1 minute and we will move you over to the apples. All right. I'm supposed to fold them in, but we're going to go in reverse. Okay, let's fold it in. My jars are already warm, by the way. They're just waiting on me to come back with this apple pie filling. And by the way, I did turn my roaster on. It's on as low as it'll go, though. I mean, it's not even 200 degrees. So it's on extremely low, just so I could make sure that those apples, at first they weren't on at all. I turned it on right before I put the filling on top of the apples. Y'all, how does that look? I got you right on the apples. Do they look good? All right, our only thing that we need to do now, y'all, is put them in the jars and water bath can for 25 minutes. And that's what we're gonna do next. Okay, y'all, it's time to fill these jars with this goodness. Ooh, y'all. And I'm gonna leave a generous amount of headspace. I've heard stories that the apple pie filling like really balls up in these. So I am leaving a solid inch of headspace just to give me room based on everything that I've read from all of the wonderful people I follow when it comes to canning. I have both canners set up, and I'm probably going to need more than that, just to be honest with you. See, I got plenty of headspace here. You see that? Plenty of headspace. I am below the rim, and we got to wipe our jars, get all the stickiness off the jars, get our lids, rings, fingertip tight. Now we're going to take these, put them back in the canner, and get the next batch. The 12-quart will hold 7 wide mouth pint jars. We'll get this one started up. I need to be 1 inch over my jars. So I just grabbed some hot water, hot tap water. There we go. Let's put our lid on. Like something's going wrong with this lid. It is. Ha ha ha. Always check your gaskets. Always check your gaskets. Because if your gasket's not on right, you're not going to cook right. It's not so much a big deal in water bath canning, but in pressure canning, that would be a problem. Always check your lid, your gasket, and make sure they're right. There we go. And this one is ready to go. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing with, this is the 12-quart. We're going to do the same thing with the 23-quart, and I'll bring you back and let you know how many jars of applesauce we end up with. I thought I'd bring you back real quick because there's one thing I forgot to do on some of those other jars, and I want to make sure you don't make that same mistake, is that you have to remember to debubble the jars. This is not a liquid, right? You got solid pieces in here, so you need to debubble. Now, the second canner, I got it right, But the first canner, I forgot to do that, y'all. So we'll see what happens with those. But in the second canner, we didn't miss a beat. So I'm going to show you how I debubble this last group of jars that I have here. I just want to finish filling them up first, and then I will show you. My 23-quart canner will hold 10 jars. I think 8 wide mouth and 10 regular mouth jars. And I still have some left. So it's not all going to fit in the first 2. So let me show you how to debubble. My hands are so sticky. Anyway, there it is. Just do it like that, push it around a little bit, and you'll notice you're going to end up with just a little more headspace. Make sure you get your ratios right on your clear gel and your juices and everything, because if your mixture is too thick, it may struggle with the process, okay? And just think about it this way. If it's too thin, when you go to cook your apples, even though they're already going to be cooked, but if you cook them down a little bit more, they'll be fine. For an apple pie, the only thing I need to do for an apple pie, y'all, is put a couple dabs of butter on this and put it in a crust, and we eat an apple pie. But my daughter will eat these. She calls them stewed apples. She will eat them for breakfast as well. And while we are waiting on these jars to finish processing, we will clean up our mess and start working on that apple juice as well. Whew, everybody. Another busy day in the kitchen is done. I ended up with 12, 16, 17, 18, 19 jars of apple pie filling. 19 jars, and 1 jar I didn't, I ran out of room in the canner, so it didn't get processed, which is this one here. We are going to put it in the refrigerator because guess what we're going to have, y'all? Apple pie. So I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for just a couple of days until we get ready to make apple pie. But y'all, everything else is done. This is every bit a year's supply for me of apple pie filling. So I have a year's supply of applesauce, a year's supply of apple butter from last year, and a year's supply of apple pie filling. I had 2 bushels of apples. I probably gave a half bushel away, and we're still eating on a couple of them. But y'all, all of this. Oh, and apple juice. Apple juice. Apple juice is on right now. And let me show you one other thing. Y'all see my kitchen? Y'all, I cleaned my kitchen up. It is completely clean. I washed all my dishes, y'all. I cleaned my spot up. Look at that. Dishwasher's going. Everything's looking good. So I left no mess whatsoever. I did the apple pie filling. We had dinner. And now in my canner right beside me, I got apple juice going. What an amazing day indoors in the kitchen. I hope you enjoyed the video. You asked for apple pie filling. I gave you apple pie filling. Let me know what else you want me to can up for you. So until next time, and I hope there'll be a next time that you choose to hang out at Kim's Cozy Corner with me. Bye.